Welcome back to Fixing My Faith. I'm Vern Houle, and this is my last video to the governing body, my last address. It's my last poem. This one, it's I don't know how to put this. I'll just say what I think, what's in my heart, I guess. I had a hard time with this one. I even wrote my book, and I finished, like I said, I'd started in January 1st. I went on a sabbatical. No cell phones, no nothing, no internet. 16 hours a day. You can ask my wife, my good wife. She put up with me for 6 months. And once I started uncovering things, I just dove in. The Bible is huge. There's 1,680 pages. And all I really had was Watchtower stuff here. I had, the only other thing I had, I used, of course, the Bible, the Watchtower Bible, and this is my Bible. It's really a Watchtower Bible. It's an '89 version, but I had the reasoning book put into the back of it, and I'm proud of this, actually. But I put the reasoning book right into the back of my Bible. I put all these extra tabs in. And I like it. I have a lot of energy, a lot of pioneering went into this Bible, the pages, it's my energy in here. You know, the Jehovah's Witness put together a good Bible, like in my opinion. Just, you know, for whatever it is, they could have thrown Yahweh's name in there, but I realized that Latin, Jehovah was part of a Latin translation, and English came from Latin, so it was you know, the King James uses Jehovah, so it's probably the proper migration. Who am I? I'm not a scholar. I'm no one. I'm a farmer. But I have read the Bible for 30 years, and it's clear. It's clear. Once you realize Jesus is the truth, it's clear. But here's the hardest thing I had through this whole process. I could study all this thing, realize that Jesus is the judge, Jesus is the truth. I could realize that Rutherford started this all. He's the virus. He's the start of it. We go to the ground zero and we break it all apart. I do that in my book. The hardest thing I had, and I didn't even talk about this in the book, is realizing that I was in a cult for 30 years. And even for me to say that, it just feels wrong. Now, over this last little course, I had to tell myself over and over and over again that here's a guy, Rutherford, who made everyone shave, just full allegiance. And I even remember in the 80s, there was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Pentant in Calgary, or in Lethbridge, in my same province in Alberta. And in the 80s, I was studying the Truth Book, and I was told, if I ever hear this guy, he is the devil. Like, he is the devil. Like, I was told this stuff. I was 18 studying. And this is what I was told. So that was the only thing I knew of. There was no internet, no nothing. And here, I went online and I looked at Mr. Pentant, Brother Pentant's work. What a fabulous man. What a fabulous man. Here's an elder, one of the anointed, and he was just speaking his mind about his kid going to get a better education. You know, the JWs want everyone to be janitors and mop floors. I even did that for a year, and I thought I'm not going to do this for my living. I went out and became a fire alarm technician, and I went night courses, took electronics night courses, and eventually I was running my own business, and eventually I had 2 patents, sold the patents to Johnson Controls, owns them, wireless pendants, and there's a long story there, but it's not about me. I didn't do any great works. I believe that God, Jehovah, gifted me to do this so that I could end up in the preaching work up in the Arctic. And that training led me to a yearly route up there doing fire alarm inspections. Every year I'd go up doing fire alarm inspections. It paid for everyone. But this talk to the governing body is my last realization. And I had to realize that I was in a cult, and I have to be able to say that openly and not be embarrassed. Once I could do that, once I could just say to people I was in a cult for 30 years and not be embarrassed about it, you wouldn't believe the load. Like, you wouldn't believe how it changes you. And this is the last part of becoming conscious. You can go through all the learning and relearning and unlearning. Now you have to admit that the last part of your life was in a cult. Now, if you were raised in it generation after generation, then you were kind of raised into the cult. But for me, I chose to be into it. I came from the world and I chose to be in this cult. And I was in it for 30 years, and I was probably one of the biggest proclaimers of this cult. So, the cult being a follower of a man, that's all. All the ideologies Rutherford put out were man-made. They were manufactured. And it's so clear. You read my book, it's clear. So once we get to this point of realizing we've been in a cult, I wrote this poem, and I'm going to share it with you. I hope I don't get into it too much, but I wore my, this is the last suit I wore, the last tie I wore when I was a JW, pioneering, and I kept it. And I thought this is a good time to respectfully approach the governing body with this, because I wanted to be respectful. And so here it is. I'm grooving, I'm moving, and everything is so soothing. I'm grooving, I'm moving, and each day I'm improving. I'm finally out of the cult. I'll tell you how it felt. I'm amazingly light, and I feel as high as a kite. So that's my opener. But I'll tell you how it was. I felt my mind was always in a buzz. My mind was often cloudy, and the meetings, they made me drowsy. I was tired of working all day long and then always feeling in the wrong for not enough field service, or they made me feel so nervous. I was always under scrutiny because they were worried about a mutiny. I thought my service was outstanding, but they even became more demanding. They thought they owned my soul, but up north in the Arctic, I gained back my control. That's because you guys allowed it. The fly-in communities offered a refuge and immunity from all the browbeatings at the congregation meetings. Up north, I wouldn't even wear a tie. It was hot and late in July. I would not even shave, my beard would grow long, and I would not behave. It was like a holiday for me, fishing with the locals and a little work to a degree. Everyone back home thought I was slaving at the doors, placing all that literature I bagged up before. I looked like a hero with all my magazines I placed. The locals invited me in, and there are cultures I embraced. When I finally came back home, I went to the Kingdom Hall, and I told my experiences, but they made me feel small. I finally became discouraged, and I asked God for power. The first thing he said was, quit the watchtower. I thought about it, and I wrote them a letter. They sent a few elders, and they said they were better. Well, that's what I did. I quit. I'm grooving, I'm moving, and everything is so soothing. I'm grooving, I'm moving, and each day I'm improving. I'm finally out of the cult. I'll tell you how I felt. I'm amazingly light, and I feel as high as a kite. No more fight and no more plight. I now rest everything on God's grand might. So that's all I can say, brothers. It is a good feeling, as hard as it is to admit that you're in a cult and that we're all fooled by the Rutherford Trance. And that's an easy one. Just blame it on Rutherford. He's dead. You do the research. Read my book. It's clear. It's clear. We were fooled. And I thank you, brothers, for following through on this program and listening to my poems and listening to my straightforwardness. I really appreciate that. And when I look